Stanley Cleaning Company has an exciting new service they are offering, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Laundry. Yes, they will come to your house, and for $15 a load, they will pick it up, take it, wash it, dry it, fold it, and bring it back to you. This is something I have dreamed about since I became an adult and started doing laundry on my own. Hit them up and get your place cleaned and your laundry done by my friends over at Stanley Cleaning Company. You can find them on Facebook or give her a call or a text at 765-860-3606. I'm Kayla Keith, and this is Missing Midwest, a true crime podcast about those that have gone missing. Today's story is about a man that went out on his ATV into the Great Smoky Mountains and never returned. What happened, and what did he find out there? Hey.
Hey. Back for the mini mountain, mini Midwest, mini series.
Missing. You forgot missing.
Oh, yeah, missing. What'd you call it?
The Missing Mini Mountain series.
Okay. Right on. Fair enough.
So, yeah, we're back with another creepy mountain story.
Okay.
If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I'm doing a short little mini series about people that have gone missing in the Great Smoky Mountains.
It turns out that the Great Smoky Mountains are like the most visited park ever.
Yeah, and a lot of freaking people have went missing there. And it honestly makes me never want to go.
And either you or someone you know right here in the Midwest has gone and will go to Tennessee. I was talking to my friend Tyler Vincent the other day, and he was talking about how he's going to go down for a couple of Tennessee Volunteers football games.
You should talk to him about not going into the wilderness.
He's going to the football games. Okay. Also, I think he can handle himself.
Any trails.
But
listen, whether these people have went missing by accident or getting lost or taken or eaten or murdered or whatever, this place is dangerous. And so today we're going to talk about a man named Mike Heron and his story and how he went out into the woods one day, and he also probably could have handled himself, but he did not make it back home.
Okay. All right.
So we are going around 9:30 a.m. on August 23rd, 2008, okay?
Getting right into it. I like it.
We are.
I like it.
Do you have any announcements?
Buy merch. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay. Buy our stuff. Subscribe.
$5 subscriptions. I mean, come on.
$5 subscription. That's less than coffee now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike called his son Andy to tell him that he was going to go pick up the mower. They shared a mower. And he was going to head to the family farm to do some mowing. A little while later, when Andy was heading home, he passed his dad on the road. His dad had the trailer hooked up to his truck with the mower, and he was like, waved at him.
See you later, Dad.
Everything seemed fine. However, that was the last time that he saw his dad. Later that day, around 11 a.m., Mike's neighbors, or one of his neighbor saw him pull into his driveway with the truck, the trailer, and the mower. And then about 30 minutes later, two other neighbors saw Mike on his four-wheeler. He actually waved to them, like, hey, For the rest of the weekend, nothing was off, okay? Andy actually worked for his dad, and he owned his own contracting business. And so him and his brother, Matt, worked for their dad. But they were not in constant contact all the time, unlike me and my parents. But they, he had talked to him on Saturday. He figured he'd see him at work on Sunday, so he didn't really check in with him or anything. And so on Sunday afternoon, he got a call from his grandma, Mike's mom, who lived literally like 5 minutes up the road from the family farm. This is where Mike had grown up. Mike did not actually live on the family farm. He lived in town. It was actually called Happy Valley. He actually lived in town in a condo, but he spent most of his weekends out at the family farm, and he took care of it and worked there. They had cattle and chicken and all this stuff. And so she called Andy. She was really upset because she hadn't been able to get a hold of her son, Mike, which was Andy's dad. And, it was really unusual for him not to call and check on her. And she had actually called him, and he hadn't called her back. And she actually had...
Stressful.
She was stressed. She was worried. Mama was worried. Her and her husband, which was Mike's dad, walked a short, 5 minutes up the lane to the farmhouse on Sunday morning and knocked on the door, but he still didn't answer because Andy had told her, Mom or Grandma, it's fine. Dad was going out to mow. He's fine. There's literally no cell service there at all. And so he was not worried at all. And he told his grandma just to chill pill, calm down. So Sunday morning, they went on this walk and they went to the farmhouse, and his truck was there and the trailer was hooked up and the mower was still on the trailer, but he did not answer the door and he was nowhere. So, like I said, Matt and Andy they weren't really concerned about this. The family farm was like 100 acres. They had 40 head of cattle, tons of chickens, and they said their dad was always working on something. Sounds like my dad, honestly, like can't sit still. They said he spent like all of his free time, like I said, he lived in town, but he spent most of his time out at the family property. He would spend his weekends there. Happy Valley had like no cell service at all. And so they weren't too concerned that he wasn't answering or wasn't around. They said that their dad knew this area literally like the back of his hand. He'd grown up there. Like I said, his mom and dad.
So they're still in the stage of like, he's probably fine.
Yeah. And like I said, his mom and dad had walked like 5 minutes over to the farmhouse. So like he literally said he actually worked as a park ranger for a while. They said his son literally said you could drop him off anywhere on that 100 acres in the middle of the night and he would find his way back to the farmhouse. Like he knew every in and out of that land. And so again, they told their grandma not to worry. But on Monday morning, their grandma called back. She insisted something was wrong. She still had not heard from her son. And so that morning around 9 a.m., Matt actually headed into his dad's condo where he lived during the week when he was working to see if he was there. He said his dad was not there and everything seemed normal. And so it was then that he called his other brother, Matt. Or did I say Andy or Matt? I'm getting them confused. Andy went to the condo and he called his brother Matt and was like, hey, grandma's worried. Dad's still not at the condo. Like, meet me at the farm. It was about a 30-minute drive to the farm. And so they were on their way to the farm when their grandma called them back. And she said that she went back to the farmhouse to check to see if he was there again. And she said the truck and trailer are still there in the same spot, but there's a four-wheeler sitting in the front yard. So Matt and Andy are like, okay, we're on our way. We're headed there. And what they found when they arrived was concerning.
Whether you're a team of 1 or 1,000, Bo Digital can help make your marketing goals a reality.
Let's be honest, most of us who run our own businesses need help in the marketing category. Either you have no clue what an algorithm is or you just don't have time to mess with it, Bo can help you with that. They offer an a la carte menu of marketing services where you can take what you need. It can be your website, your socials, newsletters, or even blogs. Bo can help you take some of it off your plate and free up time for you to focus more on the things that you love. I personally use Bo Digital in my own small business, and I love them and the team that they have and the knowledge that they possess is far beyond anything that I could do on my own. If you're looking to grow your business, you have to put a bow on it. You can reach out to them on their website, bowdigital.com, or on Facebook, BOWE digital.com.
So first, the truck windows were all open and the doors were unlocked. They said it appeared like he literally had just pulled in and jumped out of his truck, like normal, like he had just been there.
Okay.
They said his keys, his ID, some cash, and his cell phone were lying on the front seat. But the truck was not parked like their dad normally parked. You see, what happened was there was a local bus driver that lived not far, and he would park his bus during the week on the property. Because during the week, Mike wasn't usually there. So he allowed this bus to park there.
Sounds like a small town thing to do.
Very small town thing to do. And so, but in order for the bus to get on the property, his dad had to pull the truck in like a certain way. And the way the truck was parked, it actually blocked the path for the bus. And they're like, our dad never would have parked that way because he knows the bus is coming.
Yeah. He wouldn't intentionally screw the bus.
Yeah, he would have been screwing the bus driver over. And so they said that was kind of a red flag for them, that he didn't leave room for the bus.
Yeah.
They also noticed that the ATV that was parked out front, it was not actually the dad's, so it was the old family ATV. His dad had recently purchased a brand new ATV, but the old one was the one that was parked out front of the house, and it had a flat tire. They're he doesn't even use that ATV anymore. He uses his new ATV.
Right.
And so the boys are thinking their dad was here and he ran out real quick on the four-wheeler, obviously with plans on coming back to move it. He wasn't planning on leaving his truck with the windows down and in the way of the bus.
Right.
And he must have wrecked the four-wheeler and got hurt, and he's out there. And so they alerted some close family that, they think that something has happened to Dad on the family property and we need help looking for him. And they also called their mom. Now, their mom was divorced from Mike, but they're still a close family. And obviously when your sons call you for help, you go.
Right.
And so their mom went out to the property as well. And they also called Mike's brother. Mike's brother came to help. His wife actually called him at work. And he reported that he immediately thought the same thing. He said he's gotten himself hurt or wrecked, and he's we need to get out there and find him. So they all meet at the family farm and they start looking. And so Matt and Andy immediately fixed the flat tire. One of them went out on the ATV. One of them went out in their own truck, and they just start searching the property. And so they said the first thing they did, they just started going down the roads.
Sure. That's what I would do.
Yeah, checking like the usual spots. They didn't see anything. So then they started searching the trails and stuff that the ATV would go on. Still found nothing. Then they went to the neighbor's property. The neighbor had 40 acres, and the neighbor was actually a missionary in the Philippines, and they were gone. And so Mike had actually been, that's why he actually got the mower that day. He was mowing the property and taking care of it for him. And so he had been checking on their house and their stuff and like making sure everything was cool while they were over in the Philippines. And so they went and checked that 40 acres and found nothing. No sign of him. So there was also a campground, they said, nearby, because they're in the Smoky Mountains here. No sign of him at the campground. Nobody had seen him. And so at 4 p.m. that day, they were like, we need help. We need to call the police. And so they called the police. I literally can only imagine also like how panicked these people are that their grown dad is missing. Like if my dad doesn't answer my phone after like 30 minutes, like if I call him and he doesn't answer, it's like Mach 10 panic for me.
Even though you ignore his calls like all day.
100%. And so, like I said, the family property, it's literally 100 acres and it's right on the border of the national park. And so at first they were what is the word I'm looking for?
Transporting?
No,
what?
Sent to the Rangers. Like transferred. Maybe transferred to the Rangers. When they called the police, they were transferred to the Rangers. And the Rangers were like, no, it wouldn't be our case. It would be back to the sheriff's department, like the local county sheriff. And so they kind of had to go back and forth for a minute.
That's annoying and high stress situation.
And so it fell to the sheriff's department, not the park rangers. And so around 6 p.m. that night, the sheriffs arrived and they started their own search. However, 30 minutes into the search, it started pouring rain. And it basically like ruined any evidence that they had. And so the tracking dogs couldn't even find a scent around his truck, which they knew he parked the truck, and they couldn't even find it. And so the next morning, the police announced a formal search, and they asked the public to be on the lookout for Mike and his four-wheeler. So since the neighbor had actually seen him and waved to him on that four-wheeler that day, they knew exactly what he was wearing. And so they told the public, red t-shirt, khaki cargo shorts, sandals, man on a four-wheeler, No one came forward saying that they ever saw him or anything. And so authorities were working against time, for one, because the family had searched for basically the entire day without reporting it to them. And then they were also working against the weather because it was really bad. And so on Tuesday morning, the police started at the house and worked their way out. Okay? Now, there was a man that lived next door, the neighbor. His name was Grady Whitehead.
So the one neighbor was a missionary, you said, or that was just next to the property?
It was just next to the property.
Okay, gotcha.
Grady Whitehead, which I love that name. Grady, that's coin. He was like 80, in his 80s.
He knows everything.
Very good friends with the family.
He's going to know the tea.
Very close. Grady had actually been a park ranger his whole life.
Okay.
He was considered an expert tracker.
Whoa.
His son was also named Mike and had grown up with Mike on the same properties right there beside each other. Everyone said Grady knew the land so well, and every single day they said he was the first one to start searching and the last one to stop searching in his 80s. They searched daily for him.
Legend.
Yes, Grady was a legend. Matt and Andy also searched daily. They covered almost 500 acres, helicopters, dogs, drones, horseback. They even brought in divers. There was two ponds on the property, and they had those searched. And then finally, on Tuesday late afternoon, they made a huge discovery. So around mid-afternoon on Tuesday, August 26th, they found the ATV.
Whoa.
Yes. One of Mike's friends actually found it. He was checking an area. It was about a mile from the farmhouse, and it wasn't his property. It was like mountain property, I guess. I don't know whose property it was. It wasn't the neighbor's 40 acres, and it wasn't his 100 acres. But it was a very thickly wooded area, and it was near an abandoned cabin. Matt and Andy actually heard on the radios, like, we found the ATV. And so Matt and Andy immediately were like, okay, like, they found him. He's hurt. He's probably beside
like,
the
assumed,
ATV.
yeah.
They assume he's with
I'm
the
sorry,
ATV.
how many days did you say after you went missing this is?
This is on Tuesday.
Okay, gotcha.
So they don't really know how long he's been missing because he was at,
Sure, it's tough.
the
It's tough,
weekend type
yeah.
thing. And so they're like, okay, like, they have him. And so they were immediately brought to the ATV. They positively identified it as their dad's, but he was nowhere near it.
Not good.
No. It also hadn't been wrecked. So when they saw the ATV, Matt and Andy both in interviews and stuff, they said they immediately knew foul play, like something happened. First of all, there was absolutely no reason for it to be there because it wasn't on his own 100 acres, and it wasn't on the neighbor's 40 acres that he was taking care of. And it was also they said it looked like it had been stashed, like tried to be hidden, because it was up, like, on a hill, almost like sideways, like in an awkward position. And the ignition was on. So, like, think like somebody was on it and jumped off and let it run itself up into this hill.
Okay.
Or maybe he fell off of it a ways back and it ended up running itself into this hill and then it died.
Or somebody that didn't know what they were doing was right.
Or or somebody just, like, was trying to get it far away and stashed it. They just said it was very, like, very sketchy, like someone had fallen off or whatever. So the next day, the deputies and the volunteers and stuff started from the ATV this time, and they fanned out from there. They were so far out in the sticks, they actually had to bring in portable cell phone towers because they couldn't even communicate with each other because there was no cell service.
Whoa.
That's how far out in the mountains we're talking here.
Good grief.
Yeah. And so they brought in these portable cell phone towers so they could actually, like, communicate with each other. And they found nothing.
Man, what?
Yeah. So that Friday, the search was officially called off because they had searched so much and couldn't find anything. The next year, they said they would redo the search that next year, like after the fall foliage had went away, and it would be easier to, like, see things, And they actually found, like, a pit, like a burn pit, and it had bones in it.
Oh, no.
And some clothes. The clothes did not match what Mike was wearing, and the bones turned out to be cow bones.
What the heck is even happening?
So they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Nothing has been updated about this case since. Matt and Andy say that they know something bad happened to their dad that day in the woods. Some people have said, like, maybe he walked away. Like, was he depressed? Was his business failing? But Matt and Andy say no. They said the business was going really well.
Even though I think you just go ride your ATV out in the woods and just walk away from it.
Some people say that he might have went and unalived himself in the woods. Again, Matt and Andy say absolutely not. Like, he just wouldn't have done that. He wasn't, like, in that kind of headspace. However, now the locals, we're going back to locals. Locals always know
They got some tea.
Okay?
Whether they make it themselves or they hear rumors, they got the tea.
Johnny, question for you.
Yeah.
If I was somewhere in Kokomo and it wasn't our house and it wasn't the flower shop, where would I be?
Easy. Humble home.
Yes, you're right. You guys, listen up. Humble Home is my absolute favorite place to be for so many reasons. No matter what I'm looking for, I always check Humble Home first. Clothes, shoes, toys, decor, furniture, makeup, they literally always have something that I need. They have brand name items for cheap. Their inventory is constantly changing, so it's part of my weekly routine to do a Humble Home walkthrough. You absolutely need to stop by. I promise you won't be disappointed. While it is a discount store, it's not your average discount store. It's clean, organized, and everything has its place. I get zero anxiety when I go in, unlike other discount stores. And no matter what you're shopping for, a home project, gifts, home decor, even seasonal decor, they will have it. They are open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday from noon to 5. You can follow them on Facebook at Humble Home Kokomo and watch for new items every single day. And for our Lafayette, Indiana listeners, I have exciting news. They are opening a second location in Lafayette soon. As soon as I have the details, I will let you know their opening date. Get excited.
So they said that there was some rumors going around that there was some bad things going on deep in those woods. Some bad drug things.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a really good theory, or a popular theory, that, Mike was out that day just doing his rounds, riding his ATV, and he stumbled across some bad people out there doing some bad things. Matt and Andy said their dad was very,
Blunt.
a very, he just rules, respectable, straightforward. They said if he encountered somebody doing something wrong, he would have confronted them.
Okay.
He would not have turned and been like, none of my business. He would have been like, this is not okay. And he would have confronted somebody. And so they said, had he, maybe somebody was breaking into that neighbor's house, or maybe somebody was on the property that shouldn't be, or maybe he did come across some people doing some nefarious things in the woods that day.
Good word.
Did you like that?
That was good.
Thank you. And so that's kind of where it's at. Matt and Andy, they have kids of their own now, and they said that they just tell them that, like, Papa Mike is gone, and they haven't really told their kids the story. They're
Right.
it's like, what do you tell them?
Yeah.
Matt and Andy said they just pray every year when hunting season comes around that
Somebody
somebody's going to stumble across something. Some people even said, like, maybe he fell off the ATV and rolled. It's literally so hard for us to comprehend. Like, you and I are thinking, like, if I'm searching for somebody, I'm going to see them. If I'm walking through the woods and they're there, I will see them. But I cannot tell you how many times it happens where there's people, you're within 50 yards of a body or something, and people don't see it because that's how thick of the brush that we're talking about. And
I was literally thinking the other day, actually, because, like, I've thought that before in cases we've had when they're searching through woods, like, get a group of people and walk through.
Yeah.
But there's this, Truman, my son and I, we were riding our bike, and there's, like, this little trail that's right alongside of a road when we were riding our bike, when we were camping. And this patch of woods is so skinny. I'm saying, like, 15 to 20 feet. And there's this little skinny trail that goes through it. When you are riding your bike on that trail, you can't see anything outside of it. You can't see the road that is 20 feet away.
Yeah.
You can't see the campers that are 20 feet away.
Yeah, that's scary.
In that time, it's like, that is so dense that, like, if something important were 20 feet away from me, I would not see it.
Okay, so take that
and multiply it by 1 billion.
Well, like, take that and, like, how you're on a flat or a semi-flat area in the middle of Indiana, and throw in, like, some of the biggest hills,
right,
and crevices and caves, and it's hard for us to comprehend here in the Midwest for sure, because
right. Well, and
so
that's what that thought
said,
went through my head. Like, this is a 1 out of 10 on the denseness scale.
And so some people have said, maybe he fell off that 4-wheeler, and it continued on the path for a while, and they just didn't find him.
I don't know. I'm with the boys and saying foul play, though.
Yeah, but that's what the brothers say, or the sons, the 2 brothers say. And so, and then I have to go back to the creepy serial killers in the woods, and I have to go back to the creepy mountain people in the woods. Like, why are there cow bones that far out in the middle of the woods? Like,
I don't like that.
So yeah.
Well, there's this cabin that you said about 22. Like,
I don't know. I absolutely, I will talk to you for hours about true, real life, crazy, creepy stuff, but I will never watch a horror movie ever. But I know there's a horror movie about these people that literally, like, pick off. I mean, it's literally a horror movie that they've made, and I think they're cannibals, and
it's called The Hills Have Eyes.
Is that what it is?
There's a couple of movies like that. My brother and I watched them one night, and that was not a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds absolutely horrifying.
Like red cannibal nasties.
Yeah, what if there are some of those living in the Great Smoky Mountains? I don't think that's too far-fetched.
I'm saying what they show in the movie is probably not realistic, but if it is, it's in the Smoky Mountains. For sure. I don't think
it's that far-fetched. I'm not going to rule out Bigfoot, so there's that.
I'm ruling out Bigfoot. But I can see, though, like, okay, you're watching this guy's land, you see something sketchy going on, and you try to help your friend, and then it gets bad, and then pretty soon.
I also not throwing shade at Mike at all. I'm throwing shade at men like Johnny here, who think that they are capable of defending themselves. Like, if you saw something, that sounded really mean. Let me explain a little bit. If you saw something going on, the manliness, the man, you would approach somebody and you'd be like, stop it. But like, what if that person wasn't alone? What if that person had a weapon? I mean, he's just out on his ATV and his he's in his sandals and his cargo shorts, you know?
And he's trying to mow, you know?
And he might have saw something and approached them thinking, you know, a lot of men have that mindset of, it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he might have approached somebody bad that day, whether they had been robbing somewhere or just doing, I mean, there was a lot of rumors about like drugs moving through the woods and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I don't know.
That's tough.
It's another Great Smoky Mountain mystery.
Man, to just never have a body turn up. What year did you say it was?
2008.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, that's 16 years ago.
People hunting out in the woods with no, like, who's going
okay, so like
that far out?
You said that he has 100 acres. Do you know how hard it would be to like, let's say 50 of those acres are woods. Let's say 10 of those acres are woods. Like, to hunt them every year, it'd still be hard to find them. Exactly.
And the ATV was only a mile from the house.
Yeah. Oof.
Insane.
Man, yeah, that's tough. That's super tough. Man, I'm like the boys said, like every year hunting season comes, I hope somebody finds something. It's so tough.
Yeah, so if you know something about this case, I mean...
Somebody knows something.
Someone knows something, let us know. I want to engage in conversation with you.
Sure, yeah.
Give me your best theory.
If we ever do a case and you're like, whoa, you guys missed this like huge piece of evidence, like let us know. Like we want to know. We want to know.
Yeah. Well, join us next week for another Missing in the Mountains, because I got a couple more.
There you go. And if you need more content, we understand. And we created Murdered Midwest just for you guys. Subscriptions are $5. We've got over 40 episodes at this point of Murdered Midwest, and it's a lot of fun. Bonus episode comes to you on Friday. It's good stuff.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. We'll see you guys.
This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So Will I.
Are you looking to buy or sell in 2024? Let Amber White help you find your home sweet home. Amber is a local realtor to the Kokomo and Howard County area, and when I say she knows her stuff, she knows her stuff. When we decided to move closer to family, I literally messaged Amber and told her I wanted to sell my house, and then later I want to buy this house, and she made it all happen. Buying and selling is such an overwhelming process, but Amber seriously took care of every single step and eliminated all the stress for us. Her knowledge was invaluable, and while I say I never want to move again, I know exactly who to call if we decide to. Follow her on Facebook at Amber White, Realtor /broker with Carrie Gruhl and Associates, or you can give her a call at 765-865-1118.